Hello and welcome to this pit stop for Chimera Station, designed by Mark Major, published by Tasty Minstrel Games and Game Brewer. In Chimera Station, players are going to spend 5 rounds building up Chimera Station itself by adding modules to it, sending out their alien workers to the various modules in order to collect resources, collect components, make their workers more powerful and score lots and lots of points. So what can workers do? Well, they can go to the basic modules which are always in play, and that's going to give them some of the basic resources such as food, which you're going to need to feed your workers at the end of each round, coins, which you're going to need to power most of the actions in the game, and different components which you're going to be able to splice onto your workers to make them more powerful. You can also visit a laboratory to push up your research. Now, your research is going to give you perks, which are in-game bonuses and a chance for end-game scoring, extra workers from the pool, possibly some extra components, and then points once you get to the top. Now, these are the Brainiacs. There are 4 different races of aliens in the game. They all play exactly the same on the A side, but once you're used to the game, you can flip to the B side. They have slightly different starting situations and a different research track. How are you going to build up this station itself, though? Well, you're going to come down to the constructor. The constructor allows you to take one of the modules from the reactor, pay the amount of money listed on it, and then put it into play into the station. It must be adjacent to a module already built, and then you claim the reward on the space you're going to. In this case, if I put the mercenary outpost on there, it's going to cost me 3 money, and it's going to get me immediately 4 food for that bonus space. Then I have the choice to put my worker directly on it and activate it. Now, all of these modules, most of them are quite similar to what we've done here in gaining components and resources and pushing up our research, but usually they're cheaper. For example, the genetics vat costs money in order to claim tentacles, but the aquarium, it's free once you go there. You're going to score points every time you build, with a base scoring in the first round, and then as we go through the 5 rounds, the building being multiplied depending upon what round we're in. There are also areas where you can score points. For example, the scientific display will score you points per how far you've got in your research track. Well, if you can go to the command hubs, you're going to score the points values of the places all the other workers have done. Now, you're collecting components, and you can send your basic workers across to the splicing lab to put these components into them to make them more powerful. So the different components are brains. Whenever you send a worker with brains on it to one of these modules, you again score the basic point scoring on there. Workers with claws on them can kick out smaller workers from spaces, send them over to the worker lounge, and you can then activate that space. When workers with tentacles claim components, they get an extra component if it's a double tentacle, or if it's a basic resource, they get an extra one of them if they've just got 1 tentacle module. Now, why do I say if they have more than 1? Because workers can take up to 2 different components added to them. If I had 1 leaf, this worker would feed itself at the end of a round, but with 2 leaves, it actually generates food no matter where I put it on the board. And you don't just get to put the same genetic component onto workers, you can mix and match, going for either flexibility or specializing. Once we get to the end of the 5 rounds, you add the points you've scored up for building and activating certain tiles to any perks you've been able to trigger, and then you're going to get a few points for your remaining basic resources and components, and that will be the end of Chimera Station. This has been a Game Pit Stop. For more videos like this, check out the Game Pit on YouTube, and for more in-depth coverage of gaming, please find the Game Pit podcast.